This part gives me great pleasure now, actually, because I'm able to ask my good friend Harry some very important questions. Um, a lot of these questions, funny enough, as I was writing them, I was thinking to myself, these are questions that I would like somebody to ask of me,
Mm.
so that I guess it was almost like a bit of a cathartic moment for me just writing them. I was just thinking this is a real like aha moment. These are juicy questions, but I hope you receive them in the same spirit that I've written them,
I'm
you know.
open. I'm open. I'm open for sure.
But yeah,
For sure.
without further ado, Harry, I'd like to ask you. I mean, because I've seen you endure some difficult times in your journey, my bro.
Yeah.
It's not been easy. Like, how have you managed to stay so strong and just focused, on just everything that you need to. How you been able to just be strong and be such a beacon of of strength and focus
Oh,
throughout everything you've been through
oh, what? Just what? Even in the face of adversity.
in the face of adversity, my bro.
Um, yeah. There's. Firstly, it's a journey.
Mm,
Um, I think strength comes from different angles. An angle is strength comes from within.
mm,
So I think through challenges you get to self discover, and what you find through challenges indicates where you're at in that moment, and it gauges your level of resilience. So I've never been scared to face adversity.
mm.
Adversity comes. There's a saying that says, "Pressure bursts pipes, but it makes diamonds."
Jeez, love
So
that.
without pressure, you can't make
It's
diamonds.
true. It's true.
Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if so, it's understanding what I have,
Mm,
what's behind me. So a part of it is faith.
mm.
The spiritual element of my life, family support, friendship support, my social circle, having a good support network is critical. But also, it's understanding who I am and understanding that um, it's not about it's not about what you go through; it's about how you go through it. I've always
Yeah.
had that in my head,
Good.
so that's always been the pillar behind overcoming.
Yeah, that's brilliant. What would you say is important to you? What is important to Harry?
What's important to me, I would say, I've got six or so areas of importance.
Mm,
So I'm the type of person I like to document things. So
mm.
what's important to me is career, spirituality,
Yes.
um, knowledge, charity, personal development, then legacy. Those six things are the things that I think about on a
Constantly.
on a on a constant basis.
Yeah.
And it's setting myself goals that tie into those six parameters and seeing how I can push myself to the next level.
That's brilliant. You talk about you say you journal a lot, like you.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, not journaling is very important. I've got two journals actually. I've got a work journal
Mm,
that relates to my profession in construction, the journeys. I like to make a single entry once a week. And what I do is that when I get to the Christmas holidays, that's a shutdown season for the industry.
yeah.
So that gives me time to reflect
Oh,
and take stock, because at the end of the day you can't manage what you can't measure. If you don't note things down, you can't track your progress. So I have quarterly reviews of my journeys. So like within my work journal, for example, I highlight things like key lessons, challenges, um, lesson of the week,
mm,
challenge of the week, um, what I would like to do to be better. So it's self-reflection, but it's also taking stock as to what I'm actually doing in real time and documenting that.
wow, that's That's major.
Mm.
That's really, really good. Documenting. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Lesson of the week, you know.
So that's on a work front.
Yeah.
So I've got a work journal. So that's what I do to push myself to become better professionally. But then I've got a personal journal that details the ins and outs of my life. Do you know what I mean? Like values, goals, dreams, aspirations, challenges, to-do lists.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? That's tracking me on an intimate level. So that's my personal growth,
Mm.
and one caters to my professional growth, because both of them, the better I become as a person, the more impactful I become in my professional life.
Yeah, absolutely.
The better I become professionally, the more I can contribute to my personal.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So my personal allows me to impact in my professional, which gives me the resources to then flow it back into my personal world.
How would you advise someone to start doing such a thing? Because just listening to you, that sounds fantastic,
Yeah,
and it's something that I would like to implement in my own
yeah.
professional and personal life. How would one get started on?
That's a good question. That's a good question, Henry. Um, so for me personally, the starting point is understanding personal development.
Yeah.
Personal development consists of self-awareness. Now, in my view, there's three ways that make you self-aware.
Mm.
The first, which is the way that I tackled it, is understanding who am I as a person. So that's understanding my personality. So that's diving into things like personality tests, love language tests, different psychometric tests
Yeah.
to give me the profile of myself,
Of who you are. Yeah,
of
that's
who I
brilliant.
am.
That's
So
brilliant.
that's
Yeah.
the starting point. The second is journal writing. Again, that's recording in real time how I'm feeling. Imagine if your great grandfather
Mm.
or your great grandmother was a writer. Imagine if you saw a journal that they had in 1915
Mm.
and they dated it and they time capsuled their thoughts on that. Imagine what that'll do for you
Oh, bro,
in
that'd be
2023. Do
amazing. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Just to be
So
able to dive into their
just to
mindset
dive into their
of
minds. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? So I think
beautiful.
that for me is critical.
Mm.
So journal writing, as I mentioned earlier, is important. Then another thing that's critical for self-awareness is accountability. Having mentors.
Okay.
Mentorship is critical.
So it's not
Mentorship
just
is important.
not just holding yourself accountable, but other people to help and hold you
Yes,
accountable as well.
100%.
That's amazing. Okay.
Mentorship is key.
Mm.
And what's interesting about mentorship is that I've come across three types of mentors.
Okay.
So I've come across peer-to-peer mentorship. So if me and you are working in the same company,
Yeah.
you know, and we're part of the same production team, I'm project, you're commercial. There's that peer-to-peer mentorship. If I come newly into the business and you've been there for 2 years,
Yeah.
I'm leaning on you to show me the ropes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So you're based on, if you buy into who I am as a person, you're naturally gonna instill gems,
Yeah.
reveal certain bits of information, help me along that journey to bed in. That is a peer-to-peer relationship.
Very much like what we were talking about with yeah.
Yes. So that's critical. The second form of mentorship I've experienced is a career mentor. So I've been fortunate that whereby when I was working at Berkeley Homes as a site manager, I developed a natural friendship with my head of construction,
Mm.
who then evolved to be the project director. And he naturally took a liking into who I am as a person. And he saw that there's potential, which I didn't really see. You know,
Mm.
when you go into an environment, people are hypersensitive. Like
Yeah.
people observe you more than what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
sometimes it takes others to reveal to you things that you didn't know about yourself.
Yep.
And this gentleman, a guy called Lee, he was very instrumental when it comes to my career. Like even after we parted ways at Berkeley and he went over to Joseph Holmes, I went to Eco World London. He always had the input in my career decisions because I used to bring it to his table and say, Lee, I've got 3 job opportunities
Mm.
or 3 interviews. What do I need to do to position myself to get the best deal? So he was very strategic. He thinks high level. So he would cover my blind spots, reveal certain things to me in terms of branding and positioning,
Yeah.
which allowed me to secure the bag. So
Okay.
that's critical. Then the finals, having a life mentor.
Yeah.
That's somebody that can help you become a better person as a man.
That's brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? Which I know that's something that you're yearning for.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm really,
but
really.
and I believe you want my dad to be
Yeah.
your mentor.
Absolutely. If
So
if
obviously,
he'll have me, yeah.
oh, why not? So next time he's in the country, yeah, that's
Definitely.
definitely
Yeah.
something I'll arrange for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, we'll touch on that a little bit later. You know what? Look, let me grab that one now. It's so just sticking with your dad. I was just gonna ask you, what is your definition of a man? You know, who would you say is the best example in your life? Just give me your true definition of what it means to be a man.
Hmm, that's a good question. That's a good question. Um, my concept of manhood has evolved,
Mm,
and it changes based on where you're at in your life.
mm,
So, what I would my viewpoint on being a man when I was 25 is different than it was when I was 30,
mm,
and it's different now than 36
mm,
because life has happened, you see things, you learn things. But my greatest example of manhood was my dad.
mm,
So he was a person that became successful very early, hyper driven. He loves knowledge, multiple degrees, high achiever. So I was fortunate to have somebody in my house. I've never known him to work for anybody.
yeah.
Like he built himself to a position where he was and is still an entrepreneur. He's delved more into consultancy now, but for a
Mm,
good period of his life, he was a serial entrepreneur.
mm,
But he had a focus industry. Then he just had peripheral opportunities that was yielding.
yeah.
So having somebody that made me realize that education is key, and not so much do it for the sake of doing it, which a lot of African parents naturally like their children to be educated.
Yeah.
Like that's a big thing.
Yeah. It's a thing for them. Yeah.
That's a thing for them, and it's a sign of I've arrived.
Hmm.
It's a sign of
I've done well.
I've
Yeah.
done well.
Hmm.
You are my investment,
Yep.
and my duty as a parent is to train my children.
Yeah. That's it.
Do you know what I mean? So that was big on his agenda, but also what I learned from him and what still resonates in my life today is my dad showed me generosity.
Mm,
He didn't just cater to our family. He's a man for others.
okay.
Do you know what I mean? So he taught me about philanthropy.
Yeah.
It's not just about I don't just grind for my family. I grind for my generation. Do you know
Okay.
what I mean? So if, for example, if I took you back to my village in Nigeria, if I took you to the people that he's interfaced with, he's done a lot more giving than what he's received.
Okay.
So that's,
Charitable.
yeah, charitable. So it's
Very
it's
charitable man.
having is doing what you do, but doing it with love.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
my mind, that's a sign of a great man.
Yeah. Not just carrying it out because it's one's duty, but feeling burdened by it.
Yeah,
Just doing it out of the sheer love of doing it.
100%.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I love that. It's
There's a
amazing.
saying from Winston Churchill, and it's a saying that I stumbled across when I was 27, which was a very pivotal moment in my life. It says, or he said, that you make a living from what you get,
Mm,
but you make a life from what you give. So living is based on getting,
yeah.
but making a life is
Life is
based on
based
what you
on
give.
what you give.
Once I saw that and I internalized that, yeah, it's that changed
Make
my
a life
trajectory
based on what you give.
for sure.
That's brilliant. That's really nice. I like that.
Definitely.
Shout out Churchill.
Big up Churchill.
I mean, because as I see, the way you move and like the way
Mm,
you just like operate in multiple different social groups, a bit like Anthony,
yeah,
a lot of different social and professional groups.
yeah,
I've always admired that about you.
mm,
Like, I don't know if I've said it to you before. Like, I've always admired your ability because even one time you said, when you bought your flat in the first one that we
yeah,
come
yeah,
to, you
yeah.
said, yeah, you're gonna,
Tilbury.
yeah, Tilbury, so you're gonna get us man around as like one group, and then you got your other group, Amanda, and then you got your
100%.
other group. So it's
Yeah,
just like it's just everyone knows you and everyone loves you, So just being able to just move in different social and professional circles.
yeah.
How does one cultivate that ability to see value like everywhere? Just to see
Mm,
value and just build relationships effortlessly in different circles.
yeah. Um, my response to that would be firstly, relationship building is a natural gifting.
Okay. Yep.
So some people building relationships, sustaining it, branding it, growing it comes natural.
Yeah.
Some people's a chore. So naturally, I'm an extroverted person. Like you know that
Yeah.
I'm extroverted. Um, and my thing has always been relationships because there's value in people.
Yep.
Um, and I've learned the most from people. People have helped open doors for me. People have employed me. People have presented opportunities to me. I've
Mhm.
helped people. I've encouraged people, helped people elevate. So it's the biggest, in my opinion, relationships is the greatest investment.
Yeah.
Anybody can make money.
Mm.
Not everybody can form relationships, sustain it, and grow it.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'll give an example. Somebody that's got a lot of money, money alone isn't enough. That can't have you sitting in certain rooms.
Yeah.
Your reputation is greater
Yeah.
than money
Yeah. Yeah.
because your reputation gives you access.
Yep.
How you deal with people and cultivate relationships is also an attribute that it's a form of leadership.
Facts.
Great leaders are about the people.
Yeah.
Bosses are about the process. Leaders are about the people.
Yeah. So it's all about being a leader as opposed to being a boss. Yeah. Good.
And having that mindset allows me to then move into different circles,
Yeah.
maintain the relationships. Then over the past couple of years, I've started to merge circles, my
Hmm.
social circles, as my life evolves and certain things become important. What you're seeing is cross pollination.
Yeah. Good word. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. What would you say is your biggest regret in your life?
Hmm. That's a deep question. My biggest regret is hmm. My biggest regret is having a lack of focus early on.
Yeah.
So I developed focus in my
Mm.
20s. So in my teens, because there wasn't a vision, I'll say it like this. Something that's worse than physical blindness
Mm.
is having sight with no vision.
Okay.
Having sight with no
Yeah.
vision is dangerous.
Yep. Yep.
So in my teens, I had sight. I was able to see, but I wasn't able to visualize. I
Yeah.
didn't have a vision,
Mm.
which made me live in the now.
Yeah. Bit like
So it
myself.
was.
Yeah.
So it's similar to
Yeah.
you. Like I know your
Yeah.
story. Like we were in the ends, North
Yeah.
London, doing what we're doing,
That's what I'm
and
saying.
it puts you at a disadvantage point because you're living on a day to day basis, and that makes you're functioning from a place of desperation,
Yeah.
which people that are desperate tend to make bad decisions.
That's it.
So that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Not having a clear vision,
Not having a
young.
clear vision. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of us can attest to that. Just being on bullshit just because you just don't know any better. Don't You're
You
not being
can't be
shown.
what you can't see.
Yeah, it's true. That's right. You're just not being shown. You know. Okay, but what about love? Tell me about love.
What about love?
What does love mean to you?
So it's funny that you asked me this because I've developed. Firstly, I researched into love.
Okay.
and the English language doesn't capture the full embodiment of love.
Right.
So I had to dive into the Greek language.
Okay.
And in Greek, they love has 8 levels. So the entry level of love is eros, which is lust.
Mm-hmm.
The deepest level of love is agape, which is a divine love. That's an unconditional love.
Yep.
Then you got love that you show your friends. You got love that you show your family. You got a playful type of love. You've got an obsessive love, which is mania. So there's different loves that surface during different circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So my understanding of love has evolved, but also love is about giving,
Mm.
and that's something that I recently got married, um, and for me, I had to be taught how to love. Like love doesn't
Facts.
come natural.
Doesn't come natural.
It just doesn't come natural,
Exactly the
Lisa.
same.
Do you know what I mean? And I think what it is as well, because we're men, my dad is an alpha male, your dad is an alpha male. We come from a, of a large family. There's a lot of testosterone
Mm.
in the air. We're focused on, and we were focused on, trying to be high achievers.
Mm.
So the concept of love didn't really
Yes. It's
connect.
almost not important when you're trying to chase
Yeah,
goals. Yeah.
when you're trying to chase what you need to chase,
Yeah.
the concept of love doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
So it's only when I started to have experiences with women and go along that journey,
Mm.
especially my 20s, that's when I understood what love is towards the latter part of my 20s.
Yeah.
Then in my 30s, I managed to find someone and transition.
How have, just sticking on the concept of women, how have you been impacted by women and love and the pursuit of all things pleasurable in your life, negatively or positively?
That's a good question.
Like I said, these are questions that I wanted to ask, but I have been asking myself. So I
Yeah,
thought I'd just,
yeah.
because that's what the thing with me is swordsman. Like, he's got me into a bit of trouble. But
What are you
we
saying,
move.
Zorro?
Zorro, fam.
Zorro, the Z.
That's, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the
So
Z.
it's, yeah, how have how's your life been impacted by, yeah, just your relationship with
Hmm,
females and love and lust and the pursuit of things pleasurable?
that's a deep question, brother.
It's deep. Go.
I think,
Both negatively and positively, if you can
yeah,
give me.
not women is naturally a part of um a man's thinking.
Yeah,
A lot of men wouldn't do what we would do if there was no women about.
that's true.
Let's keep it real.
That's true.
So women push men to do certain things. Do you know what I mean? A good woman,
Is
a
it the
woman,
woman pushing her directly, or the indirect want, need, lust, sort of the wanting to, be around and control the woman is what pushes the man to do the things?
is a multitude of things. So I think so. Firstly, men naturally lust. It is what it is, and that stems from us being visual. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're highly visual people.
Mm-hmm.
We get stimulation from what we see. It's
Yeah,
not so much from what we hear.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? A woman is stimulated from an audio perspective.
yeah.
We're visual. So then also as well, our lust levels and our excitement towards women tends to be connected to success. The
Mm-hmm.
more successful we become or feel, the more we want to conquer in that
Yeah.
realm. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I've been conscious to that, and obviously, you know me. I've had I've had my fun. I've had a lot of fun with the women, but I've always known and been strict when it comes to realizing that I need to balance between pleasure and purpose.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? When there's not enough purpose, you overindulge in pleasure.
Yep.
When there's too much pleasure, you're compromising on your purpose.
Yeah.
So I've luckily, because I've had different types of mentors, different relationship circles, I've got circles of friends that are a lot older than me. They're in their 40s.
Mm,
So you know, they will sit me down and say, "Hey, you're moving brazy
yeah.
with these guys out there.
Trust.
Do you know what I mean? Like you need to tone it down and
Michael
channel your
Circle.
energy."
Mm,
Bob Proctor calls it transmutation of energy.
okay.
You can get inspired from a woman and take that energy and just apply it into your productivity. So
Mm,
it's like Michelangelo when he's doing what he's doing, or
yeah.
or Picasso doing what he's doing.
Mm,
Women will inspire him in such a great way that he will translate that onto his
yeah.
paintings.
Create a
Yeah,
masterpiece.
or when they chisel and hammer
Yeah.
doing their thing. So you can take that energy and push it into something else. So it's just understanding that dynamic.
Mm,
Obviously, when you're young and purpose is limited, you overindulge in pleasure.
yeah.
But as soon as purpose starts to become real,
Yeah.
you need to know how to control your lust levels.
Yeah. That's major. That's really really interesting.
How was that affected you? Because obviously that's a question that's
Mm,
you've asked me a question that you're thinking about. How have you?
I
What's been your dynamic between pleasure and purpose?
I would say all of my life I've struggled to sort of feel this kind of like this sense of unconditional love. So
From who? What, from a woman or just in general?
in general, in
Mm,
from anyone in my life, that I feel like very much a lot of the dealings that I have is transactional. You know, transactional love. It's
yeah,
I'll do this and
yeah,
you love me. If you don't do this, I won't love you anymore. That sort of transactional
yeah.
as opposed to unconditional. When I look at the way my son's mum is with them. That's unconditional love,
Mm,
and I'm so happy for it. I'm so happy that my sons and my daughter are with living with a mother who will love them regardless, and I'm so happy about that.
mm,
That my boys have this. My boys and my daughter they have this. So from an emotional level, they're getting their needs met
yeah,
so they can go out into this world and be the right sort of people. But I very much feel like I don't know if it's just from, leaving home young. From then it was just very much transactional.
yeah,
If I do this, this is what will happen. If I
yeah.
don't do this, this is what will happen. And I've always had that. So just like yourself, I don't know how to love. I don't know what love is.
Mm,
I feel like I'm ready for love, but I don't even know what the thing is.
mm,
Some traditional people would be like, "How you out here with multiple kids and you ain't never felt love?" So that's why I feel like it's just been a very much a transactional thing. We're here on this earth to procreate, to
mm,
produce life and move
mm.
forward. So I've done that.
It's
Tick.
yeah, input and output.
Yeah. So I've achieved that part. Build a business, trying to move forward. Da, da, da. So I'm doing all of that, but I struggle with any sort of emotional kind of connection. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I've ever received that from a woman or
Mm,
even from my parents, even from my
mm,
mother. It's just everything's just been very black and white
yeah.
transactional. So and that's why seeing you get married, bro. When you shed your tears, like, oh, bro, I was ready to cry there with you, my
Oh,
bro,
come on,
because
G.
it's like I could feel everything that you were feeling in
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
moment.
yeah, yeah,
And I just think to myself, I look forward to being in that moment where I can look deep in somebody's eyes and she feels me and I feel her.
yeah,
And I just get that feeling of this is someone who loves me. This is love.
yeah,
But right now I don't know what love is.
yeah. And I think, just to add to that, there's transactional, there's transactional and there's transformational.
Mm,
Transaction is what you're talking about. Transformation, when, so with me and my wife, yeah, what happened there is we both met at our height of singleness.
mm,
So when I met her, I was already wholesome already.
yeah,
So when I'm single, I'm single.
yeah,
And when she's single, she's single.
straight.
So when you function from a place of wholehearted singleness,
Mm,
that makes you eligible for companionship.
right.
because it's not a dependent relationship. She
Yeah.
doesn't depend
She
on me.
don't need you. You
This is
don't need her.
this is an interdependent relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's two bosses coming together.
Straight.
This is M Bison and Chun Li, cuz.
Trust me.
You know what I
Trust
mean?
me. Yeah.
It's I know what she's great at. She knows what I'm great at. She's great in her world. I'm great in her world. My job is to make sure that we're both singing from the same hymn sheet and moving forward.
Mm.
So it's a transformational mindset, but she taught me how to love her the way that she needed to be loved. That
Okay.
that was challenging
Yeah.
because men are naturally selfish.
Yeah.
Men are naturally cavemen.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it takes the right woman to teach you. And
Mm.
once you learn, and every day is a learning experience, once you learn that, you're able to then compound on that love. And what you discover is understanding is greater than love.
Yeah. So as long as you understand one another, you're able to
You can love
compromise.
somebody that you don't understand.
Mm.
You can love somebody that's bad for you. You can love
I hear
somebody
that.
that hates you. Some people kill out of love. But somebody that you understand, I've never had an argument with you.
Facts.
I've known you for 28 years and we've never argued.
Never argued about anything.
That's because our friendship or whatever was built on understanding.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then through that, you're able to show proof love. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So yeah.
Today's Saturday, right?
Mm.
That's my work phone. I don't know who's trying to call me on a Saturday. Apologies. I'm gonna, yeah, someone's gonna
It's
get
what it is.
someone's gonna get blasted.
Someone's gonna get
Trying to
blasted,
ring me on a
geezer.
Saturday. Like,
Yeah.
on the work phone, you know, the work phone.
I was thinking, where's
I
that
didn't
coming
even listen.
from?
I didn't even put that on do not disturb mode because
Yeah,
man
it's a
for no.
Saturday. Yeah, like you're belling me on a Saturday. This is crazy.
Anyway, we'll get
Yeah,
to the
no,
we'll get to the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah. No, we'll get to them still. We'll get to them.
What are you hoping to achieve from construction, public speaking, mentoring? What are you hoping to achieve?
So that's a great question. Um, I came to the realization that, and I said this when I spoke with Anthony, that there's a difference between job and work.
Mm.
So a job is your skill set, your work is your gifting. So construction, I didn't find construction is something I found, whereas speaking, mentoring, being a coach, that's something that found me.
Yeah.
That was revealed to me when I had my careers fair in year 10. My
Swear.
number one listing was a coach, but I was thinking of
Yeah,
coaching
yeah,
what?
yeah. Coaching what? Yeah.
Coaching what? I haven't even lived, I'm 15. Do you know what I
Trust.
mean? So
Yeah.
that seed was already sown from an early age. So the better I become in my job, which is project management, and the more experiences that I have there, the higher that I climb,
Mm.
that then allows me to tell a story to these businesses, to these organizations, to these people that I partner with.
Mm.
Content comes from context. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it is. Shed a bit more light on
Okay.
that.
No, that's really good. I love that. Yeah, because just like we were saying earlier, you know, just in construction, you know, there's not a lot of you know, ethnic minority, and you
Mm,
know, what can we do about that? And
yeah,
you know, and just things like you know, public speaking and just mentoring, giving back. I think that's very that's wholesome. You know, and I just think that more men need to do things like that.
mm,
You know, me in particular, I've wanted to mentor a young person for a long time, but I just haven't done it. You know, just I make the excuse I'm
yeah.
too busy, too many kids, too much work, blah 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 blah.
Which
But
you do have, rightfully so. You're a
yeah,
very busy person.
yeah, but
I'm a very busy person, but branding. So personal branding is critical.
mm,
So my agenda is personal branding, and what personal branding means is positioning myself to be a thought leader in my area of expertise, which is construction.
mm,
But it's not just construction, it's career development, it's employability,
mm,
it's personal development. There's a lot that happens outside of construction that I do.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? So that's part of the reason for this whole setup and having these sit downs, creating content,
mm,
bringing esteemed guests, is to filter how I live,
yeah,
what I do, my best practices in and outside of construction. Because at the end of the day, construction is just an aspect of my life, which is a big aspect of my life.
yeah,
But let me say this, and I'll ring off some examples of
Mm,
people that have a job versus their work. Muhammad Ali, his job was boxing.
mm,
His work was being a social activist.
yes.
Jobs you retire from.
Mm-hmm.
Your work you take that to the grave.
Take that to the grave. Yeah.
Mother Teresa was her job was a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Her work was philanthropy. Her job was experience in the confines of a classroom.
Mm,
Her philanthropy, she took it and she stood in front of the United Nations talking about philanthropy.
mm,
She had all the nations in a conference room and she's talking about giving because that is her work and she took that and transitioned.
nice.
Jesus was a carpenter
Mm-hmm.
by job. He was a minister by
Mm,
work. He never used to talk about job. He talks about the work.
mm.
But the job allows you to sharpen your skill set so that you can filter it back
Yeah.
into your work.
Into your work. Yeah,
Do you know what I
absolutely.
mean? You need a battleground
Mm-hmm.
to sharpen your skill set, to
Mm,
refine your gifts, and that's what you're able to cultivate in your job if you
mm.
have that awareness, and that just allows you to come across the way that you need to come across when you're doing your work, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I love that. Yeah, it's major, 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 major key. Okay. Now, all right. You asked me what would a 36-year-old Henry say to an 18-year-old Henry?
Mm.
So the same question to you. What would you now say to that 18-year-old Harry who just doesn't really know whether he's coming or going, just taking things day by day,
Mm.
just living in the moment with no real vision? What would you say to
No
that
real
young man?
vision. What I would say is, firstly, that the race is not for the swift.
Mm,
Time is subjective, and the key is knowing who you are early. And
mm.
this is why I think things like personal development, self awareness, these things need to be taught in a curriculum.
Oh, bro, big
Do you know what I
time,
mean? They
100%.
they need to. A critical age in our lives was 15.
15, yeah.
So if they come in when you're 13 and they start making you aware about yourself, your strengths, your
You wouldn't take it
weaknesses,
in, yeah.
imagine doing a SWOT analysis on who you are when you're 14. Like a deep SWOT
Yeah.
analysis, like having that career exposure
Mm,
when you're in year nine. That would then allow you to choose subjects
mm,
that you can then take through to your GCSEs.
yeah.
And you have that continuously
Mm.
from year nine, year 10, year 11.
Every year, just
And every year,
yeah.
and you're not just telling people about college and uni, you're giving them a landscape of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You can be an entrepreneur. Here's a lesson or a module about money management.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So what I would, looking back, I wish I took the time to become self-aware, but again, that was just due to the level of information that was available
That's right.
in the early
At the time,
2000s.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't be who I am.
It
But
allowed you to go on this journey.
100%, the journey is more important than the destination.
That's,
But what I would say is, I would take more time before I make a decision.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I used to make hasty decisions.
Oh, bro.
Do you know what I mean? So,
I
and
hear that.
some of my decisions were
Trust me, man. Just jumping
interesting.
like, yeah, done. Yeah, I'm in. Boom.
Yeah, I'm in.
Let's roll.
Yeah, let's go. Let's jump in the
Trust.
car and do you know what I mean?
That's what
So
I'm saying.
yeah, I would take a step back and second guess myself and always ask myself, what's the outcome?
Mm.
So I'll be more outcome focused. And that would have, but it is what it
Yeah,
is.
like you said, it's the journey.
It's the
Absolutely.
journey, Keezer.
Absolutely. And the last one, similar to what you asked me, is what
Mm.
legacy you're trying to create.
What legacy am I trying to create? Firstly, the starting point is nepotism.
What does that mean? Educate
So
me. What's nepotism?
nepotism is each one teach one.
Okay, I love that.
Do you know what I mean? So when you look at successful cultures, successful societies,
Mm.
the Indians are very successful, Italians,
Jews.
the Jews, they come from a collectivistic society where they teach their family, their immediate family, the wider family, everything that they know.
Yep.
So my job is to share knowledge, to be a breath of fresh air. That's part of the legacy. Also create generational wealth through good investments. But it's also making sure that my forthcoming generations will be very self-aware, through which they're able to discover their skills, natural giftings, and prune that, cultivate that.
That is brilliant.
Do you know what I mean?
Magic.
Just to give them the opportunity to actually be great.
Be
And
great.
greatness isn't all, greatness is a lot closer than what we believe.
Yeah.
Greatness is within.
You just
Like,
need to find it.
you just need to find it. Do you know what I mean? Greatness isn't made, is recognized.
That's awesome. You know, that's nepotism. That new word for me today. I've heard it. I've never really dived into the true meaning of the word. You know, and just going back to the whole, you know, legacy. It's easy for a lot of people to think, you know, legacy, hand something down to their kids. But what you just said, bro, was magical. It's not so much about having something for them. It's all about teaching them to be great.
Teaching them to be great, kids.
Teaching them self awareness of know who you are, know thyself, my child. Oh,
Imagine if somebody gave you, there's giving fish and there's teaching how to fish. I'd
yeah.
rather be taught how to fish.
Teach me how to fish. I
all
feed
day long.
myself. Yeah, just
Yeah.
teach me.
Don't give me the fish and I'm coming back to you every week saying
Exactly.
I need
fish.
I need more fish.
I need more fish.
Teach me how to throw that rod and reel that fish.
Teach me confidence. Teach me stability, like you said. You know, teach me, you know, money management. Teach me self awareness. Teach me respect. Teach me self respect.
Self respect.
Teach me focus, understanding, education, drive, discipline. Jeez, Chimo.
Ezibochi. Discipline, cuz.
Teach me all these things.
Then teach me how to separate. Teach me how to pull away.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Separation is not isolation.
Yeah.
Wisdom comes from separation.
Yeah.
When you're always in the mix and you're just on the battlefield firefighting
constantly,
you're just surrounded by the Spartans. It's long.
This is what I'm saying. Just reactive, living a reactive life as opposed to being able to step away and set a plan.
It's reactive
and just set the right path for yourself. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And life is adversarial naturally. You know, every day is a battlefield experience. When you're working, you're trying to conquer. I'm evolving to become not the person that's out on the battlefield, just on a Leonardo's thing.
Battling.
I'm just on a sniper team.
Yeah.
Sniper. It's calculated. It's a decision that will. Your decisions don't. It doesn't guarantee an outcome. It just allows you to be in a position to have an opportunity. Outcomes are never guaranteed, but putting yourself in a position where you're able to have a good opportunity, that's what would allow you to experience success.
Love that.
In my opinion.
I love that,
but
bro.
obviously that's
powerful, man.
That's a conversation for another day.
But this is like therapy, man. Look, you taught me something major. You know, I'm gonna go away and take this away, that instead of battling to create something to hand down to your children, how about just hand down the thing that will make them great, the things, the lessons.
It's
teaching. Teach them self-confidence, self-awareness, you know, build their character. That's
100%. That's what it's about, bro. That's what it's about. So,
bro, it's been a real pleasure.
You're welcome.
An absolute pleasure. I'm so happy you invited me.
You're welcome.
Thank you
for coming down.
No, honestly, this is more of us, especially men, need to do these discussions.
100%. And you know, it's not just exclusive to men. It's men and women that are doing great things.
Yeah.
And for me, it's about identifying people that are great, people that are elevated, through which we can celebrate you.
Absolutely.
So elevated and celebrated. That's what it's about, brother. So yeah.
You need to clip that.
I need to clip
it. Oh, bro, thank you, bro.